Teresa.
Can she hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
She's not answering.
Where are you?
Good morning.
Hey,
Good morning.
you're here, right? And
Yeah.
Buddy got all the way home this morning, took a bath, got ready to come to the meeting, and they called him and said they were going to release Lene, so he had to go back to the hospital to get her. So he probably won't make it to the meeting today, but at least he'll be getting Lene home, so which is a blessing. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you what, it seems like to me right lately, we have had the most people in town sick with, some kind of complications, and not COVID or not whatever that other stuff is. But anyway, we have had a lot of people sick, a lot of people with just different things other than COVID, but a lot of them in serious condition too. So anyway, we need to keep all of those people in our prayers and just pray that the Lord looking after them. Let's go to the Lord in prayer at this time. Dear and Father, Almighty God, we thank you for this beautiful day that we have on Topsail Island. We thank you for this island that we have, this area that we have to live in. We just bless you, Lord, each and every day for what we have. Thank you also for our freedom that we have here, that is because of the military that we have. We thank you for having all the military in our area. Pray that you look after them, see them through this coming year, and make sure that they have a wonderful holiday. Dear and Father, we ask you to be with the ones that are sick, be with Buddy and Lene, see them through, see Teresa back here shortly. And anyway, hopefully everybody will have a wonderful Christmas. Dear and Father, we thank you for all the other blessings. Ask you to lead and guide us as we make our decision for the town and its citizens. In your holy name we pray. Amen. Amen. Okay, Mr. Don.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, under God, with liberty and justice for all. I blew that. Come here, Winnie.
We'll have to, let's write it down for you.
No.
Do you have the coin? I heard one in my pocket from you.
Thank you. Are we recording this thing? We got called the Stooges a while ago, and it may be right. I don't know. The way we're getting started off this morning anyway. We appreciate it and thank everybody for being here and looking after what's going on. So the first thing is we've got a special event. Now, who's doing that? You?
I'll take
Kyle?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Mayor and Council and staff and public in the audience. The first item on your agenda today, and we are looking for an approval on this, is a special event that was not part of our calendar for the current fiscal year. So as you'll see with the budget ordinance amendment, we are allocating approximately $225,000 into a expenditure account and then anticipate revenues to cover those expenditures. So again, nothing per se that's going to be a deficit for the town, but something that we do need to show a budget for. So I'll ask council to review that, and if you have any questions, to please let me know.
Any questions on that?
I will just ask that, Mr. Mayor, if you'll entertain a vote on this so that we can move forward on the project.
I make a motion, we approve it.
A second. All in favor, raise your hand. Teresa?
Yes. Yes.
Teresa.
I heard her.
Okay.
She said, yeah, I thought I heard her say yes.
Yes, I did.
It's in there.
Okay. All right. He said okay. So
All right.
his motion is approved.
Very good.
All right.
The next item that we have is actually part of our sort of strategic objectives that we sit down and through our employee evaluation process. And working with those mutually established goals, was working with Chief Shanahan on researching the opportunity to look at implementing a citizen police academy for the town, to get our folks a little bit more familiar into the operations and what goes on in our very robust police department. So I'll ask Chief or Lieutenant Voorhees if you want to come up and present this to council.
Good morning.
Sure, thanks for giving me the opportunity to be here.
Yes, sir.
Chief Shannon and I worked together to put together this Citizens Police Academy. It was his vision. I want to take it over and start it and implement it in 2022. As you'll see in your council packet, we're looking to go about 9 weeks with this, about 2 hours every Thursday night. And all the topics that are on here will be covered by different officers. The cost of the town will be minimal. We tried to schedule it when the officers are actually working so they could be there to teach the class. Our goal is to bring in citizens, explain to them what we do in the police department, show them what we do, and bridge a gap between the police department and the citizens themselves so they understand. It's a community policing tool that we want to implement. And long-term, I'd like to see it possibly go twice a year. And we're going to start out with 12 participants, or 10 participants, I'm sorry, and hopefully grow it from there. We have the application is also in the packet. We're going to do a background check on these individuals, make sure that we don't have anybody coming in that doesn't need to be exposed to any sensitive information that we have inside the police department. And finally is the advertisement that we're going to work with our PIO and put out to start getting those applications into the police department. I'll be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
I just have one quick.
Go ahead, sir.
What is the objective of this? What is your ultimate end result for this?
So the end result, I really want to bridge the gap between the police department and the public and explain to them what we actually do inside the police department so they can see it. And once we bridge that gap with the public, I think that there's going to be the officers and the public will have I don't know the word I'm looking for. We'll be able to bridge the gap with them, and they'll know the officers and get to know the officers. So I think that a citizen that knows an officer will be more apt to go to them and give them information and want to talk to them and say, hey, I know Officer so-and-so, and they'll be approachable, and it'll bridge that gap between us and the community. That's my end goal.
I think it's a good idea because people don't realize what you do. They don't realize how much that you have got on your plate to do. They don't realize that.
No, I don't think they do, and this will help them understand exactly what
Yeah.
happens within the police department and what exactly the officers do and the training that's required.
Yeah.
And the whole aspect of what it takes to be a police officer.
Yeah.
I believe, Mr. Brewer, we're just looking for a consensus to move forward.
As part of the objectives of the police department to pursue was to present, at minimum, present this to council just so that you're aware of this opportunity and aware of the program. So Lieutenant doesn't need any approval from council to move forward, but certainly wanted the opportunity to hear any concerns that you may have. And, I'll help work with Lieutenant and through the program, and I think, do evaluations at the end and look for improvements. And I think it'll be a good opportunity for our folks to work with police department on this.
Yeah, the only thing, when people see a Citizens Police Academy, they may think that we're training more policemen.
No,
We're
sir.
not training them to be police officers, right?
No, sir, we are not.
Okay.
No. It's an informational thing to educate the public on what the police department does.
Right. Okay.
So we're looking to start small and then grow it in the future. And we'll continually make changes and improve it as we go.
That's not to say that you might not have some that do that and then wish to go on to the police academy
That's true.
to help you. So, and give us some more people to hire from. So I think
Possibly
it's a
could
good
be a
idea.
recruiting tool also.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Kyle, what you got next?
Okay. Pull the memo. I didn't see the memo.
No, not in that part.
I prepared a memo for council. To kind of go over, this was on our retreat agenda last month, and we got so busy with everything else, we were just unable to get to it. So essentially, a vision statement is used for our aspirational goals, what we're looking to be in the future, but also reiterating some of the values in which we identify ourselves in Surf City. So through the comprehensive planning process, a public survey was published in which we received more than 2,000 responses that were generated through either permanent resident homeowners, long-term renters, and property owners that have a vested interest in the success of Surf City. So utilizing the responses of the question, if you could improve one thing about Surf City, what would it be? I crafted a vision statement that I thought that we could use as sort of a guiding tool for that comprehensive plan, for long-term plans in which the town develops and sets priorities for capital projects and investments. So that vision statement is the town of Surf City will maintain and enhance a family-friendly coastal environment, promoting quality economic development and equal opportunity for all. Preserving our culture and values of being a wholesome, family-oriented community and enhancing our quality of life and adaptation will remain at the forefront of the town's success. The statement remains broad enough to help guide policies and action items to achieve the vision for Surf City. The vision statement is then complemented with an existing mission statement of the organization, which is every day to make Surf City a better place to live and a better place to visit. That was adopted in 2017, and we would maintain that current mission statement. So all of these things work hand in hand, and then furthermore, something to help guide some of our strategic objectives for the organization. I put together some core values in which staff can strive to achieve. And again, utilizing those through our annual review process, our CIP requests, make sure that we're hitting on service, opportunity, resilience, and efficiency. And if our organization can adopt those core values, then we can apply those into some of the decision-making and discussions that we have. But those are those are things that would be used internally to the organization. And we would work with department heads, and then department heads would work with their staff to help understand, some of the bigger picture items in which Surf City is trying to achieve. So that's one thing that we know that we want to help link our employees that may not be sitting in council meetings and may not listen to council and some of the policies that you put together, but this will kind of help link that in their day-to-day activities to understand what those core values are and how those fit into the mission and vision statement. So all I'm asking for council to do is to adopt that vision statement, and we will utilize that moving forward. And the first place will be within the comprehensive plan that Ms. Kimes is working on right now.
I have a motion to
I'll
adopt
make
it.
that motion, we adopt it.
A second.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Teresa. All right, all in favor, raise your hand. Okay, Teresa seconded it, so I'm sure she's in favor of it. So it's been approved and passed. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next item on the agenda is to go over some of the outputs of our retreat. We discussed year-end review of our paid parking program and parking management program. There are a few things that we identified in that retreat to help continue to help achieve our goals. And again, I think it's important to go back to understand what the goals of paid parking were. One, our primary goal was to utilize a paid parking system to bring increased management and control over what was at times chaotic parking within the town especially during the beach season. The second goal in which we were trying to achieve was to help fund the gap in the federal project where we worked with our finance director to establish that debt capacity model and look out 50 years to address the initial construction cost of that project, but also the 6-year renourishment cycle that we are on. So with that, we put forth a preliminary budget last year. It really was a best guess. We didn't really know what to expect as far as revenue, as far as how things would work. I'm happy to say that a lot of things we were able to address. We were able to address those on the fly or efficiently and make some minor adjustments to assist. But then there were some other things that we had discussed that we felt that we can make those adjustments for. So as part of that program, we implement our rules based on ordinance. So the ordinance before you includes some additional language that talks about scofflaws and immobilization of vehicles. It addresses the paid parking season. And then also, what we need to go back and I will present back to you. So just looking for a general consensus today on this, but is to include the appeals process that if somebody receives a citation from our parking management company, they always have the opportunity to appeal that through the company. But then the town was getting a lot of the calls about, having dissatisfied responses from that initial appeal process. So what we need to add into this ordinance, and I apologize it's not in here, but is to send those to the appellate committee, the standing committee that already hears town ordinance violations. These are bundled into a package and they can objectively review those based on any sort of evidence or testimony that an individual may want to submit. And it kind of takes the subjective nature of somebody calling the manager's office and upset about a citation. And I really have no criteria in which to review those secondary appeals. Not trying to skirt any sort of responsibility, but it puts the town in an awkward position to have staff, look at these things because, I trust our management company to, do a thorough review. So those are some of the main items. Getting into the fee schedule, that also would need to be adopted because our parking program, starts prior to the fiscal year, July 1. So we would need to do an amendment for our town fee schedule. And those include certain areas being considered as prime parking areas, which then would increase the cost and then the daily cost that gets associated with it. The town has decided to keep the seasonal pass for individuals to purchase that may live in the nearby vicinity of Surf City and may find benefit to a season pass. It also has a violation escalation in here, so trying to get those citation payments in so that we don't have to go back through the debt collection process where it's additional time and effort and financial resources of staff to have to do that. So that citation after 7 days going up $10, and then after 14 days, that initial citation, the fine would go up $25. There is an additional fee for immobilization, so if we have to boot a vehicle, but that's only going to be if we get to that third citation and it has not been paid. So I don't anticipate a lot of those occurring. We didn't run into these issues this year, but it is just another tool that the town can utilize. Also, too, just wanted to make sure that we communicated with the public that the the Central Business District passes for employees would remain in place. There would be no change in that program. We would look for improved efficiencies from our parking management company for the registration process, as well as the registration process for our residents to get on and register for your 2 free parking passes. So none of that is changing with the program, but these are the minor adjustments that need to occur before the next season starts, which is right around the corner already.
So now that the booting is, you said the 3rd citation has not been, so they have not paid any of the citations?
Any of the first 2.
Right.
And then if they're subject for a 3rd citation is when the parking company can then go and boot a vehicle.
Right, as long as they pay the citations.
They're not going to be subject to
Not gonna be
boot.
booted.
Yes,
They
that's
just
correct.
give up the money.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can we get in the future here, can we get a map of those areas that are going to be increased? Can you?
Yeah, oh,
I'd like
absolutely.
to have a
And
map just so I can understand them where they're at. I mean, I'm okay with
Absolutely.
that. I just want to
Yep.
make sure I understand them.
yes, absolutely. So we have that basically put together. There were some very minor adjustments that we'll make, and that map obviously remains a fluid document as we add new parking spaces, as we remove parking spaces. So yes, I'll get that out to council, and then we'll continue our final tweaks on that before the season comes. But just as an example, working with property owner along Charlotte Avenue, they're building houses there. We have to provide access to the property through our right of way, so we will lose parking spaces there. So that's kind of the ebb and flow in which we manage through our office. So, and that's just Mr. Mayor, just a consensus to move forward.
Okay.
And again,
Do we have a
we'll
consensus on that? Is that fine,
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Okay.
and we'll make some final tweaks in regards to the appeal process for you. The last item, before I'm going to request, Mr. Mayor, that Chief Wilson comes up, but the last item I have on the agenda for you is the fiscal year 22-23 budget calendar. This was presented to staff or department heads, I guess last week, to give them an understanding of their expectations moving forward. This is very similar to last year's calendar. We do have a budget retreat scheduled for next month already on the 21st, and we'll do that here in the training room behind council chambers. But ultimately, this just puts forth the systematic process for developing the budget, department heads getting their information to finance director and myself, us reviewing that and getting it presented to council. We will have department heads come in and present their budgets directly to you. I thought that worked well last year so that you could ask specific questions about programs and any sort of funding requests that might be outside of the normal operational request. The capital improvement items request form has already been sent out. There is, quite a few things already on our CIP. We were able to accomplish several things and a few projects that are underway and still ongoing. So that is probably going to be the primary focus of our budget this year, and prioritizing those capital improvement items, because the operational budgets shouldn't change too much. Outside of some, I'm sure, personnel requests, vehicles, et cetera. So I'll present that to you, just for, we don't necessarily have to adopt this, but just as an understanding that this is what's coming up, and we will get these dates published and make sure they're on your calendar. And then the ultimate goal is having a budget adopted by the end of the fiscal year. And if we can do one step better and get that adopted, I believe at your work session in May is when we have this scheduled. That allows us to focus on the upcoming fiscal year and really get moving on that. But Of course, we'll leave any of those subsequent dates open if there's any topics that need to be discussed.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, it's okay. Sorry, it's all good. So that's what I have for you on the work session for the agenda items. If there's no questions on the agenda, we wanted to hear from Chief Wilson. I think he has an important announcement to make.
Thank you for fitting me in. I know I'm not on the agenda, but I do have some exciting news. We did receive our ISO classification grade back from the state this week. I'm happy to announce we've been graded an ISO Class 3, which is a really good grade for the town and the Northeast Pender Fire District. Prior to this survey, we were a Class 5 in town and a Class 9 in the district. So we lowered both grades significantly, and we no longer have the fire hydrant classification within our rating. So it doesn't matter where you live in relation to a fire hydrant, your rate is going to be a Class 3. So what that does is that puts Surf City Fire Department in the top 9% of fire departments in the country as well as in the state. There's only 121 Class 3 fire departments in the state. So that's a really big deal for us. The rate will take effect April 1st of next year. I do want to take a minute to thank the town staff for their assistance, all the firefighters within the fire department that supported this, council support. This is a really big process for us. We're very excited with the outcome, and I think the citizens of Surf City will be excited as well. Just to give you a little bit of a rundown on how that scoring came out. Our 911 center within the county said the ISO grade is 3 different scores. So they grade the communications center, they grade the water system, and they grade the fire department. And our county communications center scored a 7.71 out of 10, which is a really good grade for a communications center. Our water department here in Surf City, as well as the county, scored a 28.13 out of 40. And that's also a really good score for a small town. Fire department scored a 34.56 out of 50, which is also, adding all that up gets us to at Class 3. So having those grades, it really kind of helps us fine tune where we are, where our deficiencies are. But one of the things I really want to point out is within the ISO grading scale, there's this divergence. And it's basically a reduction in points depending on where the water department is versus where the fire department is. So they really compare the two together, and they can't give out a good grade for an organization that has a really good fire department but a poor water department, and vice versa. You can't have a poor fire department and a really good water department in order to get a really good ISO grade. Just so you know, our divergence score was 0.24, and that's really low. That's the lowest divergence score I've ever seen. It just goes to show that our water department is matched up with our fire department very, very well, and for our community. So thanks to the water department for the hard work that they do in order to keep this grade down as well. Because it's not just the fire department, it's the water department, the town, and our county communications system all in one piece. So it's a really good deal. If you want me to go into some of the other gradings, I can, but I really just wanted to get that information to you guys that we are now a Class 3 fire department.
I'll yield the council if you want, Chief, to get into any additional details, with the ISO, rating that we got. But, we also will be putting this out to the public.
Tell these folks that 3 only applies to business.
Well, it applies to the entire district.
Right.
However, what you're alluding to is the insurance rate reductions. Generally speaking, a 1 and 2 family residence sees its highest insurance premium reductions at a Class 6 and higher. So going lower than a Class 6 generally doesn't affect the insurance rates for a 1 and 2 family dwelling. However, lowering from past 6 down to a 3 significantly impacts the insurance rating reductions for businesses, commercial properties, as well as multifamily properties.
Right. I just wanted that on
Correct.
records.
And it really depends on how the insurance company utilize that information to establish their rates. Now, it could have some effect on a single-family home if their particular insurance company recognizes, that the fire department is a Class 3.
Right.
Chief, do you think that, it would be prudent of individuals to reach out to their insurance company?
Absolutely.
Once this information is out there,
Yep.
that way their adjuster knows.
That's correct.
And they don't have to rely on their adjuster to just find out.
That's correct.
adjust it.
And yes, so one of the processes, we will put out a press release next week, hopefully. And then once it gets closer to that April 1st date, when the rate actually becomes effective, we will start pushing out more information to the citizens to let them know. Because really and truly, Surf City residents are already recognizing their Class 5, but our county district, just for instance, the houses that are right behind Town Hall, they're Class 9. So they'll see a significant reduction in their insurance ratings. So, any other questions?
Yes, sir.
It's awesome. It's a great day.
And I would just suggest that when we put the information out, let's make sure that we have a map that shows the district. That way, folks who are looking at it have a good understanding as if they're in the Northeast Pender Fire District.
Yeah, pretty much if you're outside of the city limits from Dogwood Lakes
Yeah,
back to the county line.
yeah, very good.
But yeah, we'll get a map out.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, what else we got? Hadn't got anything else, have we?
Tell you all the time, I can talk to you all day.
I know.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Wait a minute, has anybody else got anything?
Nope.
Oh, I will. Just real quick, told you, I'll get you. Tomorrow morning, we're gonna do a street sweep, downtown, starting at 9 o'clock, in the central business district. So nothing too big or crazy, but we'll try to hit the beach and try to hit the streets and, get the town looking good before Christmas.
Okay. All righty. All right, once again, I appreciate all the work that the town employees, the fire department, police department, and utilities department, and the town management department, and the planning department, and all the other departments do. I just appreciate their work. Okay, now, Don,
I make a motion, we adjourn.
do I have a second on that? All in favor? Teresa? You in favor?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Have a good one, girl.
Everybody have a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too.
We are adjourned.